Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Game Over Vancouver. I'm Kaja Antic, and the Vancouver Canucks defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-2 on home ice. The Canucks won on home ice. Before we get into the game, remember to wow, check out the flagship show of the Game Over Network. Uh, I can speak. This has been a long day, folks. Bear with me. Check out the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network YouTube channel. Hyperdrive Hockey, all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. All right. So, the Vancouver Canucks. Elfrin says this game reminded me of the one I went to a few years ago versus Columbus. We were down 3-0 after the first period and scored 4 unanswered goal. I remember that game. I think Yaroslav Halak was a net for us, and then Demko came in. I'm pretty sure that was that game. Or I don't remember. No, I think Halak stayed in net. That was like beginning of the Boudreau era, I believe, because it was around the same time. It was in December when they like didn't lose until like the end of the month. Um anyway, the Vancouver Canucks have their fourth win on home ice, and we will talk about their home ice performance in a little bit cuz they're starting a 6-game homestand. Yeah, Halak was in it. Okay, cool. I was like, did he stay in net the whole game or did Demko come in? Cuz I know that also happened a few times. Um But yeah, so the Vancouver Canucks, they win 5-2. It didn't start great. Like, I don't know if they were distracted by Gracie Abrams. That's her name, right? I just know that she's the daughter of J.J. Abrams, and she sings a song that's famous on TikTok. And she's opening for Taylor Swift, obviously. The elephant in the room, Eras Tours next door. If you went to the game, you are a braver soul than I am. Or if she's like entered downtown in any vicinity, good luck. Oh, because Demko was on the bench. Mark. Okay. But yeah, the Canucks did not start off well. The first period, Columbus had the majority of their shots on net. They had 17 in the first period. The rest of the game combined for 15 total in 2 periods. Columbus had 17. Vancouver Canucks had 2. 2. 17-2. We were being outshot 17-2 by the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's not a sentence I want to be saying and have confidence in my team that they can turn it around, especially when they've had that abysmal record on home ice. Yeah, only 2 shots to start your first game of a 6-game homestand of the, I don't know, traditional, I guess, Vancouver December homestand that always happens. 17-2. That you can't start a game off like that. I know Columbus was coming right out of the gate because they played last night and they lost to Edmonton. So they're obviously trying to get their energy out of the way, and they end up scoring 2 goals from Matthew Olivier and Damon Severson. I think that's it. They both score, and the Canucks just kind of didn't really do anything. I was like, is Columbus a dominant team, or are the Canucks just not sure what time their games start? Because I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing where they need to start telling the guys that they start playing at 6, that puck drops at 6 rather than 7, so that when it comes to 7, then they're like, okay, now it's actually time to play. Because I always seem to show up an hour late. You can't use daylight savings as an excuse anymore. It's been a month. least in the second period, they still got outshot. Less bad though, 9-7. But they get 2 goals. Brock Besser gets a 7th of the year, and Kiefer Sherwood gets a 7th of the year. And I have to tell you guys, I made a boo-boo on my fantasy roster earlier this week because I don't know if it was earlier this week, but um so if you haven't seen it, you should probably after the show look up Charlie Lindgren Tampa Bay. Cause Charlie Lindgren, goaltender for the Washington Capitals, scored on his own net. Which was actually a hat trick goal for I forgot which Lightning player, but it was a hat trick. Washington ends up winning the game, but I had Lindgren as my one of my fantasy goaltenders, and I saw that and I was like, I'm not sure. And he wasn't getting as many starts because Logan Thompson's doing pretty good, so I dropped him. And since I only had 2 goalies, I called up another goalie. And I chose Elvis Merzlikins because I was like, okay, he's gonna start more. That's good. Because we have to get 3 per week. Um, yeah, it has not been good. It is not it this game really it's 5 goals on 17 shots. I know one of them's an empty netter, but I don't want to look at my stats right now. It was already doing pretty bad because the other night I looked down and at Sorokin's my other goalie. I looked down and Sorokin was at a point like 6-7 something. Like that's not anyway. Fantasy stuff aside, good job for the Canucks. I was cursing myself a little bit there because Charlie Lindgren ended up winning tonight. Um, but yeah, Brock Besser scores to make it 2-1. Kiefer Sherwood ties it after Elvis Merzlikins basically. Yeah, I'm not really. If anybody can understand what he was doing on that play, please tell me. That was almost as bad as when I was at the Luongo night game last year and Sergei Bobrovsky, who ended up winning the Stanley Cup that year, obviously last year, passed the puck directly to Dakota Joshua, who then scored. To make it 3-0 for the Canucks against Florida. This time, I feel like the stakes are a little bit higher because it's a 1-goal game. Your team is up. Your team is not known for being up, especially right now. And he's going out for the poke check. Merzlikins likes to, I don't want to say be more aggressive, but like you've seen him play hockey. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have seen things he's done. He's not afraid to get physical. But he was going for the poke check, I think. But it wasn't like there were other Columbus players that could also defend on Teddy Bluger. But I guess they didn't. And yeah, Bluger ends up passing to Kiefer Sherwood, who tucks it in and scores his 7th of the year. I just need to understand that man's thought process on that because Columbus was so close to still holding on to the 1-goal lead going into the second intermission. With a minute left, Merzlikins just decides to go on an adventure, and it does not go well. It's like the inverse of when Tuukka Rask thought they were down 2-1, so he tried to go to the bench for the extra attacker in the last couple of minutes of play. But they weren't. They were actually tied, and he had to go back. It's kind of like the reverse of that, in a way, in a sense. I believe that Besser goal was his first goal since returning from injury. That sounds right. I believe, yes, that sounds right. Thank you, Elfriend, for that. And I'm also wearing my Besser jersey right now, so it's fitting. I think I also wear it because it's a black skate, but it's an older black skate. Not super old, not like 90s old. I do have one of those. I don't have one of those. It is in my house. Anyway. Canucks. They continue to score. In the third period, they scored 5 unanswered after Columbus scored the first 2. And Pius Shooter, so many nicknames for this man. He gets his 10th of the season. Amazing. He I would say he's definitely top for getting the Unsung Hero award this year for the Canucks at this moment in time. I think he's been an underrated yet consistently reliable um player, especially with the obviously the injuries that the Canucks have had throughout the early season. Yeah, Pia Suter, 10th of the year. And that's how the Canucks start off the third pretty well. Um, yeah, it was Garland to Suter, and then that one trickled in, and then to Jake DeBrusk on the power play. Also, Columbus has given up a power play goal in 12 straight games. And I thought that this game, because it's always like your team that always breaks the streak, or like it's always Vancouver with like the record breaking goal or something like that. Like Stamkos, I think he had his like 500th against us. There's just it's always got to be Vancouver. So I thought that this game tonight, I was like, okay, Columbus, yeah, we're just not gonna score on the power play, and I'm like, that's fine. We went 30% on the road trip. That is okay. I mean, it would be nice, but it's okay. And then Jake DeBrusk scores. On the power play, the puck gets through. I have no idea what the problem with Merzlikins' pads are, but they do not work. They are. It's not. It's because he thinks he has the puck and then it somehow slips through. I don't know if they're not tight enough. I don't know if he needs to go the Tim Thomas route and get like super huge ones, but yeah, that it was an interesting play, I'll say. But honestly, good for him. And also, Brock Besser hit his 400th career point, I believe, on that goal, because he hit 399 on his goal, and then he hit with his ninth assist of the season. Let me just see, because I know the Canucks posted something about it. Da, 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 da. Where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah, 400 career points for Brock Besser. Because he gets that assist on the Jake DeBrusk power play goal. And Quinn Hughes, 25 assists on the. No one can stop him. And then Pia Suter, of course, gets the empty netter for his 11th. Elias Pettersson gets the assist. Yes, 400 career points for the best. For the I don't think you would say that beast. I think that's just best, right? Be because it's Besser, so it's I can't speak the English language apparently. Um yeah, so overall, I mean, Canucks have 28 to 18 hits. Columbus has more giveaways. Um Still just the shots on goal. I understand if they're best is best. Okay, thank you. Um, I understand that like not all of them are going to be you want to get the better quality chances for shots, but being outshot 32 to 17 on by Columbus is not a good look for a team that's like, "Oh yeah, we can contend." That's not that's not what you want to try and do. Officiating was interesting tonight. Um, I'm not entirely sure what was happening at some points, but the refs really liked to call 4-on-4s. Um, is that a trend? I don't know, but there were, let's see, one, two, yeah, because those were the fighting. Three, okay, there were only three, but it felt like there was a lot. Because I feel like you barely get one a game, or one every couple games. This was three in one single game. Um, but you know what? They're calling everything tonight. Well, not everything. They called a lot of things, but they also didn't call a lot of things. Hockey is weird that way. Elias Pettersson he kind of I don't want to say he started the whole situation by tripping Ivan Provorov, but it was certainly interesting. Because he also knocks out one of the, I don't want to say top defenseman, because I'm not saying that Ivan Provorov's like a elite D man, but when it comes to ice time for Columbus, he's definitely out there a lot, and he took him out of the game. So I don't know. Yeah, it something with his thumb. They showed it on the broadcast, and I had to look away. So if you don't like weirdly misshapen thumb bones, don't look it up. That's my advice for you tonight. Life lessons with Kaja. There was another weird penalty in the second. The Noah Juleson and Zach Aston Reese fighting majors, and then Zach Aston Reese also got an extra roughing on there. Was that a fight? I mean, I understand you dropped the gloves, so technically you're engaged in fighting by definition of whatever it says in the rule book. Um, but it wasn't like sure they hit each other a couple times, but that's like that just looks like every time I'm trying to annoy my sister. Like that's just normal. Um, but still, 5 minutes each for fighting. It's all right. The Canucks still end up tying the game later on. There were a few missed calls. You know, Brock Besser was particularly not happy that there were no calls for him getting. I think it was taken down and slashed, and then he kept talking to the ref, and then he got slashed again, and then after that, Connor Garland got like sandwiched between two guys. I don't think there was a call on that play. No, there wasn't. And then Connor Garland was like he was like trying to be buddy buddy with one of the guys that hit him. It was a very physical game. I think part of it was the Canucks trying to prove they still had some energy left, and Columbus just trying to get through what is their third game in 4 nights, which is wild. Um, but yeah, it was a time. I'll say that it was a time. And one more thing that I was going to say that I have forgotten. Oh yeah, ice time. I will mention that later. But I also wanted to highlight before I get into a little second segment here. Um, so on the broadcast, they mention that Columbus is flying after this game is done, they're flying directly to Winnipeg. Not exactly a short flight. I believe it would be 4 to 5 hours. Estimated probably four. I've never flown to Winnipeg. I don't know. Um, but yeah. So Columbus after this game have to leave the arena, get through downtown, have to get to YVR, get on the plane, and then go straight to Winnipeg. And the reason they're doing this is because I don't know if this is actually the confirmed reason, but they joked about it on the broadcast, and I'm going to van to Winnipeg is about 3 4 hours. Thank you. Um, yeah. So I don't know if this is true for the reason that they're doing this. I mentioned at the top of the show the Eras tour, Taylor Swift's big tour. That's a 3 hour long show, and it's ending in Vancouver. After 2 years, the show has 3 nights at BC Place, which is across the street from Rogers Arena. And there was a joke that it might be true. There's no hotel rooms in Vancouver for the Blue Jackets to stay in because the Canucks come back. The Leafs, they get to play like 3 games in 13 days when Taylor's in Toronto. But no, the Canucks, they return from a 6 game road trip to have a 6 game homestand the night that Era starts here. Um anyway, not saying there's a bias. I'm not saying there's a bias. It's just I mean, she announced it last fall. last fall the Canucks were like leading when Taylor Swift announced that she was entering the Eras tour in Vancouver for 3 nights. The Canucks were at the top of the league. Like they were heading into Christmas break, top of the league. They had a lot of time. They had a lot of time. I could see that being a reason. Yeah, because also, Vancouver has a hotel room shortage, which is a point of contention because there's a lot of like tourist activities, that are coming into the city in the next few years. Like you have the typical big ones. I like the the Grey Cup was just here. They had a huge festival downtown. They had a zip line. Like it was wild. Grey Cup was just here. They had the Eras tour this weekend. They have the Invictus Games next February, and also the World Cup in a couple years. And they have a hotel room shortage. So there's just a lot going on. So I understand why the Blue Jackets would want to get the heck out of Dodge. Like that, completely relatable. I am doing my best to avoid downtown and just Vancouver overall for the next few days because it's not going to be fun. Anyway, before I get into a little bit bad traffic during both of the Morgan Wallen concert, watch out for flying chairs. Um, Before I get into talking a bit more about just the Canucks homestand, what we expect, what we think is gonna happen. Um, just remember to like the video, subscribe down below, comment, rate, review, all that fun stuff. Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. If you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. For LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, let us know in the comments on Blue Sky, Instagram, or our Discord server. All right, so the Vancouver Canucks are heading into really Kaja. Yes, I did that. I also forgot Billie Eilish was in town, but she was playing Rogers, so it's smaller. Anyway, still a big artist, not the Eras tour. Anyway, the Canucks are going into a 6-game homestand. They are now 4-5-3 at home, which is not at all spectacular. They are pulling a Vancouver Whitecaps and saying, we can perform on the road, but at home we're just no. Like, I went to multiple Whitecaps games this year. The only game they won in regulation was in the playoffs. And even then, they started their amazing playoff run this year on the road, which technically should have been a home game. That's a whole other story. Basically, the Canucks are pulling a Whitecaps. Their only wins at home have been Pittsburgh, which was a come-from-behind win. Calgary, which... It's Calgary. Chicago, which is even worse. Chicago 4-1, Calgary 3-1, and then Pittsburgh, which was my friend texting me. She was at the game, and she texts me, "Oh yeah, why can't we score?" And then they scored 4 goals in the second. Yeah, Pittsburgh, that was a come from behind win. Calgary, come from behind. Chicago, that tab didn't open, come from behind. Like, yes, sure, we're getting the wins, but we're also not scoring first on home ice, and those are our only 4 wins. And when it comes to those 4 wins, only one of those teams is marginally good. And it's not the team that's won 2 Stanley Cups in recent, not even in recent memory. They've won multiple Stanley Cups in recent memory. I'm just saying 2 in the last, decade. Like, I was in high school when they were still winning cups. Like, it's been pretty recent. Like, I'm definitely far removed from high school right now, but it's still pretty recent. I would say Calgary would be the best out of those teams, And they're reaching the point where they're scratching under Kuzmenko. Then again, that kind of fixed the Canucks, so maybe. At the same time, wow, we've only beaten the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Calgary Flames. All four of those teams scored first. The Canucks don't know how to show up at 7 p.m. or whatever time they're playing on home ice. Most of the time, it's been 7 p.m., unless it's like the Leafs or it's like a random holiday or a Sunday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They they're not showing up in the first period, and I know this has been recycled. I know this has been a topic of conversation, but it's like, what is the mindset? You're on home ice. It's just a piece of ice. Is it the seats? Is that why they're changing the seats? No, because they've had great home performances in the past. They've had these great performances on home ice. It's just this year that they're just not doing anything. The 1 p.m. start is going to be brutal. You know what? Nothing could be worse than the 9:30 a.m. start. Thankfully, I was already awake. But well, yeah, the 9:30 a.m. Sunday start. Oh, whoever scheduled that Detroit game, I have words for you. Um, yeah, that 1 p.m. start is going to be brutal. For mindset wise, they said Demko should not come in and play that game. I also think that, but that's also because it's the Lightning and they are very fast. I don't think that would be a very good opponent. If you're looking for a team, you think that bad, look at Nashville. I feel like Nashville has they have the issue of they spent so much in the off season to bolster up their roster, whereas with the Canucks, I guess they did their big spending with Pettersson already, and we've gone down that rabbit hole before. Their biggest offseason acquisition was Jake DeBrusk, and he didn't perform for the first 10 games, but he's been scoring pretty consistently. Yes, tonight was his first goal on home ice, but he has been pretty consistent minus the first 10 games. And he wasn't terrible, absolutely horrendous beforehand. So, I think the Canucks aren't getting the same attention because Nashville was all like, "Oh yeah, we're going to get Jonathan Marchessault, Conn Smythe winner. We're gonna get Steven Stamkos, like double cup winner, legend. Like we're gonna do this." And then they do nothing with it. Anyway, Nashville's a whole other situation. Um, but yeah, the Canucks, they need to figure out, like, yeah, sure, they win on home ice. Good for them. This next homestand is not easy. This was, again, hard to earn wins in the NHL. This game was not a guaranteed win. They had two shots in the first 20 minutes. Two, two, two. Peace. Sorry. They had two shots in the first 20 minutes, and it's against Columbus, which, like, not to discredit the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they're not the same caliber as some of the other teams that are coming to Vancouver. You have the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are, I mean, they're fourth in the Atlantic right now, but they're still the Tampa Bay Lightning. They can still mess you up. You have the St. Louis Blues, who, I mean, they're not great, but still, they're pretty decent. You have, or yeah, also Tampa Bay won the cup 21 in 20 and 21 and also were in the finals in 22. St. Louis won the cup in 2019. I understand. Long time removed. We beat them in the playoffs the year later. It was also a freaking pandemic, man. Chill out. Florida, back-to-back cup finals, just won the cup. It's also Pride Night. Um, Boston, who we just shut out on home ice for the second time in franchise history. Also Boston perennial. I don't want to say deep playoff team because, like, let's be honest, they're not. But perennial, pretty good performer. Just overall, and also a very rough team to try and beat. And the Canucks kind of have a recurring thing of losing to them that dates back quite a while. I don't want to go there. And then the Avalanche, of course, won the Cup in 2022. Understand, a lot of these teams have had roster changes. At the same time, they're good teams still. They're decent teams. They're not like Columbus has had their issues. Of course, they haven't been in the same boat as like a um, San Jose Sharks. They were close, and they're still pretty close. I mean, San Jose is still they're still losing 8-1, but they're not at the bottom of the Pacific. So, I mean, some Sharks are, but technically. Boston is showing signs of breaking apart. I say we should win the game. We should. We shut them out on home ice. Only one other goalie in Canucks history has done that, aside from Kevin Lankinen, and it was Corey Hirsch. Like, that's not like Luongo didn't do it. Like that's yeah. I don't know if it's like on home ice, like, or if it's just the TD Garden, but I'm gonna say home ice anyway. If I'm wrong, eat an Oreo. I don't know. Boston showing signs of breaking apart. Yeah, they're not the strong team that they have been in previous years, but they're still a pretty damn good team. Like, don't get me wrong. Um, and I mean, Florida on a tear. Tampa, they're also very good. St. Louis, decent. Colorado, kind of in the same boat as Boston, in my opinion. But they have, I feel like it's more clear where their issues lie, whereas Boston is just kind of breaking apart at the seams. Colorado is just, they have some of their guys, like they have McCarr and they have McKinnon, and they're pretty good. Um, they're turning into an Edmonton where it's goaltending that's the issue, except they have defense, kind of. Cale McCarr is more offensively minded, in my opinion. And goaltending. They're turning into the Oilers in that sense. So yeah, it'll be an interesting homestand. Um, I don't know how they pull out of this one in the positive. I don't think if they have the form that they have had, over the past few weeks at home, I don't see them pulling out a .500. Like, this was the game they needed to start with some energy in. Yes, they didn't start with energy, and sure, yeah, they won the game. Big whoop, you need to play for a full 60 minutes. And past that, too, if you're going to go to overtime, because they did that for 3 straight games on the road. But if you're going to be playing against teams like a Tampa, like a Florida, like a Boston, like a Colorado, you're going to need to play a full 60 minutes. And they haven't shown that they can do that on home ice, or just in general overall, but especially on home ice. You have 4 wins in Rogers Arena, 5 losses, 3 overtime losses, 4 wins. And it was come from behind every single time. Pittsburgh, Calgary, Chicago, Columbus. These are not contending teams. The furthest they're contending for is either first overall or a wild card spot. The second wild card spot at best. And you have to come from behind to beat them. And sure, you can score goals to make up for every goal that you let in. That doesn't change the fact that you're allowing them to basically run the show for the entire first period at times, or even like part way into the second, or they let go of it in the third, and they just keep going and going and going, and then the Canucks turn on the Jets. You can't play like that in front of teams that are actually contending for higher than a wild card, actually contending for a place in second round, conference finals, Stanley Cup finals, for the cup itself. You can't play the same level of hockey that you have been playing, because honestly, you've been squeaking by with wins on home ice against teams that you should be absolutely washing out. So I think that's it for that part. Um, Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your predictions are for the upcoming homestand, because yeah, it's tonight, Columbus, and then Sunday at 1 p.m. is Tampa. Then 2 days later, St. Louis. 2 days later, Florida. 2 days later, Boston. And then 2 days later, Colorado. And then they have a back-to-back on the road. I don't know how they get out of this a with a record in those 6 games over 500. I don't think that's possible for this team where they're at currently. Like, sure, I don't know if JT Miller is going to be back during this homestand. Apparently there's a plan. He's back practicing. Good to hear. Who knows if Thatcher Demko's going? He is back. He was on the ice during warm up. He was on the bench tonight. He was backing up. But is he going to play a game during this homestand? What's that whole deal gonna look like? Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. And before I get into talking a little bit more about defense and all that fun stuff, Game Over has you covered after the game, but in order to get ready to watch the Canucks, you've got to get your game on too. Game On Hockey is a short-form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know across the NHL and also the PWHL, and also the Four Nations Face-Off. Even though that's technically the NHL, it's weird. Get all your hockey news in under 10 minutes Monday through Friday on the Game Over Network YouTube channel and in podcast form, which you can find at thegameovernetwork.com and also wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. All right, Demko might be coming back at the right time. Lankinen can't do it all by himself. That is very true. Yeah, he can't, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and Sheilov has his issues. He needs most likely to be sent back down to Abbotsford, because he's very young in goalie terms. That's like putting a toddler out there and expecting them to paint a masterpiece. Yeah, I think he does get sent back down. And management-wise, I think it's a good move to have Lankinen also. I feel like it's a good tandem. It's a good tandem to have. Where is Quinn Hughes? Okay, Quinn Hughes' time on ice tonight. 26 minutes. So, the other day, Quinn Hughes had a maintenance day. Instead of practicing with the rest of the team and going through a full practice, obviously he had a few days between games, from coming back from Minnesota to playing tonight. Quinn Hughes wasn't practicing. It was a maintenance day, and that makes sense. You know, sometimes you just need a little break. And it's hockey, probably a little banged up. He's also playing for like nearly 30 minutes a night. If it's not 26, then it's 27. If it's not 27, it's 28, and then 29, 30, 30. Like, I understand Philip Hronek's out. I understand the D core is not elite. It's not an elite defensive core. But why are we playing Quinn Hughes for 26 minutes a night? It's not like the rest of our defensemen, which have other issues. Let's be honest, none of them are perfect. But then again, we're all humans and none of us are perfect. They have some issues as well. You know, not everyone can be Quinn Hughes. But if we burn Quinn Hughes out, then no one is Quinn Hughes, and then we have a big problem. I don't think that, benching him is the solution to this. I don't think that would do the Canucks fairly well, for an extended period of time, obviously, but maybe just limiting the ice time a little bit. I understand Hronik is out, but also that was like his partner. Um, where's the complete there? Okay. So, like Brandstrom, he didn't have some great shifts tonight. He played the lowest amount at 14:22. It was a bit more spread out. Him and Juleson were lower teens. Desharnais got an assist. Also had a breakaway. I forgot to mention that during the game breakdown. Vincent Desharnais had a breakaway. He's scored one goal in his entire career, and it was at an outdoor Heritage Classic game when he was with the Oilers. Um, you know what? He still added up a +1, so Eric Branster was a -1. So maybe that's why he played 14 minutes. I don't know. Um, yeah, Quinn Hughes did not have the largest amount of shifts, but also he is at the point where for power plays, it's just I dropped the hair clip. Taka just kind of lets him go and do his thing and doesn't really call him back in. Um, Tyler Myers played the most shifts tonight, which is something I wasn't expecting to say. He had the lower time on ice of the 20-minuters because it was Quinn Hughes, then Carson Soucy with 4 minutes less, and then Tyler Myers with another minute off of that. Thoughts? Like, I understand there's some glaring holes in our defensive system. I understand Quinn Hughes, really, really good player. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. But if we're running him for 26 minutes a night, 28 minutes a night, 30 minutes a night, if it goes to overtime, who knows how long we're going to have Quinn Hughes to play that many numbers, and then you have an even bigger issue. So, um, I'm not sure if that's like giving Brandstrom and Juleson more of an opportunity. I know Juleson's already on the penalty kill. We have Friedman waiting in the wings. There's moving parts on the back end. Sure, they can trade for somebody, but then you have to wonder what assets are they giving up. They're talking about trading Hoglander. He's not really doing himself all the favors with without really scoring, and also the whole taking penalties like 200 feet from your own net type of thing. Um, I'm just not sure what they do on the decor in that situation other than try and spread out the ice time a little bit better so that you're not playing Quinn Hughes the equivalent of a sitcom episode a night, or longer than a sitcom episode a night, the equivalent of a sitcom episode with ads. Like, that's not sustainable. We just talked about sustainability and somewhat and resilience, but you kind of need your captain of your team, arguably your best player, the basically heart and soul of your defensive core, um, on the ice, your best skater, like Quinn Hughes, reigning Norris Trophy winner. You need to kind of take care of that. You can't expect him to do that all by himself. And I understand, I've said this multiple times now. There's a lot of issues with our defensive core. It's not the best in the league. It is absolutely not the worst in the league, though. We cut out the opening recap, and Hughes will be okay. Yeah, I mean, Hughes will be fine. I mean, yeah, he will, but I'm a little worried about sustainability in the long term. Um, Maybe that's just way too Vancouver eco-friendly of me. Anyway, before we get into the last little Q&A bit, sound off in the chat. Any questions, concerns, comments, ideas about nuclear fusion. Um, all right. What better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, currently on sale, or want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need another coffee to get through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady Chalis from Game Over Winnipeg, use the QR code on stream now. I got it, eventually. And take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. Also, bunch of new hats and stuff on there. Really cool, really sick. You should check it out. And also, it's the holiday season. I know I still have my fall decorations up. I'm working on it. It's finals. Using the code GO Holidays, it's capital GO for Game Over, and then H is holiday, capitalized. GO Holidays, go holidays. Yeah. We're offering 15% off on all winter products, hoodies, and the beanies that are absolutely like I love a good beanie, so yes, this is on my list. This will be active until December 25th, Christmas Day, with a different sale dropping on Boxing Day, just the day after. So yeah, code GO Holidays, 15% off of hoodies and beanies from the Game Over Network store. All right. Q&A. Q and questions and thoughts. I have no thoughts. Thoughts are gone. I had a final exam today, so my brain is thinked out. Oh no, I closed the chat. Okay, it is back. Um, my brain is thinked out. Billy said in the chat a while back, but I'll do a call back. LA Galaxy or New York RB. It's LA's to lose because they're good. New York, I don't really have an attachment to either team. That's the thing. I know the Canadian men's team coach Jesse Marsh, he posted about the Red Bulls, but that's also because like he used to coach them, so that makes sense. I I don't know. I'm just gonna watch for the fun of it. It's not like I was when I was watching during like LAFC in Seattle or Seattle and Galaxy. It's like, and I was like, oh yeah, because your team beat my team, you should lose. Like it's not that situation. It's just kind of like, well, we're here now. If it was the Whitecaps versus Atlanta, they would have held it in Atlanta anyway because of Eras Tour too. So fun. Miss JT's face-off wins. I hopefully he's back soon, Casey. I mean they were chanting JT Miller in the arena tonight, which I mean it made more sense than the arena doing it during the WWE event last week, Survivor Series, I think it was. Um, they were chanting JT Miller during that, which is cool. A little confused, but it's cool. Um, but yeah, JT on the face-off dot. He's pretty sure the best on our team. I know Pedersen has been struggling a little bit. Max Sasson won a face-off tonight, or maybe multiple. He's 100%, so maybe just one, but yeah. Pedersen over 50% on the face-off dot tonight. Let's all applaud that. This is the situation we're in, with the Canucks now. Pius Suter 58.8, Teddy Bluger 62.5. Yeah. Wait, who was centering that bottom line? It was Sasson. Okay. So maybe he took more face-offs and he's just pretty good at it. Good for him. Good for him, you know? It's good to see. Love to see it. Yeah, golf clap. I don't know if that's picking up on the mic, but I am definitely golf clapping. I've never played golf. That's a lie. I played golf once. I was like 6. I had pink golf clubs. It's real cool. My grandpa almost flipped our golf cart. Anyway, um, stories with Kaja. Max Aston only had 11 shifts. Aturatu had 10. Could be worse. Um, but yeah, face off dot. You know what? 59.4%. It's a pass. It's a pass. And C's get degrees. And in the Pacific Division, a spot in the playoffs. Not to discredit a lot of the teams in our division, but I'm discrediting a lot of the teams in our division because. Yeah, interesting. We only outshot Columbus during one of the periods, and it's Columbus. Actually, my phone's all the way over there. I was gonna say I should check my fantasy stats to see what my Merzlikins start came out as, because that I can see his save percentage on here. 750. That's a beer league number, bro. That's beer league. That's beer league. I think I'm cooked. I think I'm cooked, chat. Chat, am I cooked? 750, and it was like in the 800s before tonight. Oh my god. Do the Islanders play tomorrow at least? Ilya Sorokin, please save me. Islanders. No. They play the Hurt. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. There's no saving my fantasy. There's no saving my fantasy team. Wow. Last year, my team was named Wookiee Mistakes. The icon was Chewbacca, and I thought that made sense because I actually don't know if it was the proper league I'm talking about, but anyway. And I thought that was clever because, I'd never done fantasy hockey before. This year, it's named El Plan. El Plan. It's the icon is a picture of Fernando Alonso, the F1 driver, and I tried to keep it as like a meme team, but like I'm still trying to be successful. That's not panning out so far. This is very much a 2024 Aston Martin series. I wanted it to be a 2023 Aston Martin series. Thank you very much. I just scratched my hand. I think that's a good time to end the show because I obviously cannot be trusted to move my arms. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like the video, comment down below, follow Game Over on all of the social medias, and yeah, check out the Game Over Network shop. Use code GOHolidays, go holidays, 15% off hoodies and the beanie. It was pretty sweet. It's a pretty sweet deal. Active until December 25th. Thank you for joining me. Thank you guys. Get some rest. I will try. I will try. It's busy week. Busy weekend. Thank you guys for joining me tonight after the Vancouver Canucks beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-2 at home. But go back to the second segment if you want to hear more thoughts on that. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and have a great rest of your night. Stay safe out there in downtown with all the traffic this weekend. Okay, bye!